The Les Paul Modern Season Overhaul. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Back in 2019, Gibson first came out with the Les Paul Modern, as new ownership took place, and they were trying to simplify the lineup, make it easier to understand. It's kind of similar to the old High Performance series guitars, but their big thing was the Modern Collection and the Original Collection. Now, about 4 years later, the initial 3 colors of the Les Paul Modern appear to be getting phased out. We're talking the graphite top, the sparkling burgundy top, as well as the faded Pelham blue top. So I thought it'd be fun to buy the 3 new colors just to check them out, but wait till you see the top on this one. That's just great. So this is the new sea foam color. First thing that's going to snap out at you is the fact that we actually have flame tops on the Moderns now instead of just those solid colors, which I think is a great choice. Because historically, as a used guitar dealer, the Les Paul Moderns never really saw a lot of love, and they had pretty bad resale value overall. Like a brand new $3,000 guitar would be selling in the $2,000 to $2,300 range, and usually Gibsons are pretty good at holding value. But then again, at the same time, these are not for the traditionalists. So here's one of our new colors. You could say it's reminiscent of the late 2018 models, but it still has the swooped heel contouring job. But now we've got the natural finish on the back, which I love because you can see the mahogany do the dancing. This one is known as Seafoam Green. But our next one's called Cherry Burst. It's kind of a strange finish name, but it's like a red color. This one's also got a really nice top. Wow. I'm not really seeing too much of a burst pattern. It just kind of looks like a kind of orangish red. You've got a slightly darker border, but yeah, I like that top on this one too. So things that the Les Paul Modern have going for it is all the fancy electronics. None of that has changed this time. It's really just you get a flame top now and you got your new colors. The back on this one is a nice dark cherry color. I'm liking that too. I wasn't really sold on stock photos for the Cherry Burst, but I think I'm kind of liking it now. Well, with stock photos, this was definitely my favorite, but we'll have to see how it is in the flesh. Cobalt Burst. Kind of like the other ones we saw, you just get a slightly deeper layer, but these initial runs are just coming with some very nice tops. It's like the waves in the ocean looking good here, and the real mother of pearl inlays really helps complement this blue finish. I would say the only downside to this finish is you get the really dark blue back, so it's going to like show fingerprint smudges and scratches a little bit more, but that's a nice dark blue shade. So here they are side by side. I would say this is the most unique original finish that we've seen in a while, whereas this has been reused a bunch, and we've seen kind of similar things in the past. But in my opinion, I think this one looks the best out of them due to that whole natural back. So here you can see the edge of the blue while you're playing it. And I'm really glad they went for that cherry color on the back rather than just like a dark red. I think it would be hard to go wrong with any of these finishes, but I am glad I decided to pick up one of each. So let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. It's just like the custom color SGs, I think this is a breath of life into this series of guitars. And we'll have to see if the flame tops on this particular model help it sell better, because I was surprised that we did not see like a $200 price increase to cover the tops. These are the same price that the other ones were, but you have to remember, the Modern was a different price when it first came out. It was price adjustments throughout the years that made them go up. So I really feel that Gibson was like, yeah, we need to offer a little bit more value on these. So we'll have to see how long that these last. And I'll be excited to see if we get any new colors on the Epiphone Les Paul Modern, because that's the one I would highly suggest. I love the Epi Moderns. They're some of the best spec'd and best priced guitars on the current market. But in case you're new to the Les Paul Modern, let's go ahead and throw it on the workbench to take an individual look at its parts and specs so you can understand what it's all about. Inside our new Flame Top Modern, let's check out our pickups. They're still being stocked with the Rhythm Pro in the neck and the Lead Pro Plus in the bridge, which read 8.53 k ohms in the bridge, 7.62 in the neck, and the middle just for fun, about 4. And nothing's changed here with our fancy electronics. You can still coil split each with that. You've got direct to bridge, and then I believe this one's the out of phase. However, since it's on a PCB, it's not affecting our direct out reading. But in case you're new to all that fancy electronics, this gives you a single coil-like tone. Gibson now calls it the P90 tone, since they don't have what usually people think when you think single coil, you know, Stratocaster pickups in their lineup. The direct to bridge takes everything out of the circuit and essentially wires your bridge pickup directly to your output jack. So it gives you just a little bit hotter of a tone, and it's a great way to go from rhythm to lead, because say you have your neck pickup set up exactly the way you like it, it's like a 9, and then you have your tone here, and sometimes you'll like to have your bridge rolled down some. You can bypass all these settings by doing that. And then your out of phase is for the middle position only. It gives you that kind of Peter Green quacky tone. It's not for everyone or all occasions, but it's nice to have. Here's what our pickup cavities look like. SF for seafoam. There you can see the wood before the finish was applied. And our bridge pickup cavity, LPM for Les Paul Modern. And then our mahogany body is ultra modern weight relieved. So that's the version that has the V cut out and a few other chambers. This is definitely one of the nicest tops I've seen come out of a Gibson USA. Like, when I say 3D, like, a lot of people are just milking it, right? But this is a great top. It's a combination of the color scheme as well as the attributes of the wood, because it just gets dark at certain angles, light at other ones. It's a highly active top. And if you're thinking about one of these, a lot of times they put the best tops on like the launch models. So the first year or so will be really good, but then they start to drop off a little bit. So it's usually easier to find really nice tops in the beginning, but that doesn't mean you won't find them throughout. Don't put yourself in extreme debt to get one. It's just kind of a forewarning. You've got your lightweight aluminum Nashville style bridge by API. It's got the Allen key adjustment thumb wheels and the matching lightweight aluminum tailpiece by the same company. But moving on from our maple top mahogany body, we've got the mahogany neck with the ebony fretboard. The really nitty gritty QC details on this one are not so good, and I hate to say that because it's a great example otherwise. There's quite a few minor chip out areas. So right here the ebony chipped out. Right there it did during the installation process. There's a minor crack right there. And then either a chip out or some sort of an impression right there. Now, do any of these affect the structural integrity of the fretboard or the guitar or how it plays? No, it's more so cosmetic eyesores. You could easily sand those even. But it's the fact that it wasn't done before it left the factory. And here's another thing that Gibson has been challenged by lately. There's been a lot of glue seepage coming out in this area. Now, I'm not talking about the thin binding in the cutaway. That's a historic spec. That's just the maple cap being exposed. I'm talking about this gunk right here that then gets finished over and you can't get rid of. I did not notice anything nearly as extreme on the fretboards of these two. And the darker colored finishes hide over that glue seepage, if indeed it is happening on these other ones. Because it only seems to be the natural backed ones that you prevalently see that on. The Les Paul Modern is one of the few Les Paul standard styled instruments that has real mother of pearl inlays, but you'll also notice that your trapezoids get a little bit more rounded because of that. And the Moderns do not get fret nibs, but they do get the typical 24 3/4 inch scale, feature a compound radius fretboard. Now, they don't actually tell you what it is, but I think it's like 10 to 16, something close to that. So what that means for you is it's a slightly rounder radius in your chording area because it helps you play them, but then the further up the neck you go, it gets flatter. And the actual measurement's 1.71 inches for the nut, increasing to 2.1 by the 12th. Pretty skinny, 0.8 first fret neck depth. Dang, 0.9 by the 12th. Those are slim necks. Here that is on the contour gauge, like first fret-ish, 7th, and then all the way up at the top of the neck. Hopefully that helps you visualize it. As far as our headstock, it's fairly traditional looking. Les Paul model decal. I think they should change that to say modern. That'd be kind of cool. And then our mother of pearl Gibson logo with locking Grover tuners. And our truss rod's looking good. And we've got a blank truss rod cover. Moving on to the back, the nice thing about having just a nice natural color with just a bit of a tint is we can actually see all the wood grain. I did not realize that the Les Paul Modern was using 3-piece backs. So there's a seam line right there, and the other seam line is perfectly where the strap button is and runs down along the back. Now you kind of have to hold it in lighting like this to see it. Got some nice wood grain otherwise, and when you look at it at an angle like this, it hides and matches pretty decently. Going back to our other two examples, it's also true on these. They just look a little bit cleaner, so if you're trying to decide which finish you like and 3-piece backs bug ya, maybe go for one of the darker colored ones. Let's go ahead and look at our electronics. If you were curious what the modern PCB looks like, it's this. You've got the 4 CTS push-pull pots. And the nice thing about it being a PCB, if you don't like these pickups, just find yourself a white quick connect set of any pickup that you do like, and you can have all the same fancy electronics. All you gotta do is unplug these and plug your new ones in. The hardest part about that process is swapping out the pickup rings. Then we've got the metal output jack plate with the strap button on the bottom, and the one that we saw up here. And the Les Paul Modern has this swoop. It's not the exact same as the custom shop access heel carve, Basically, they just carve a little bit away right here, make it closer to the Les Paul Custom Light, because instead of having a big heel back here, they've shaved it down, which can help you get to the upper frets a little bit easier. But in my opinion, this is nowhere near as effective as the Access heel carve, because the Access gets rid of everything right here and makes it a smooth, effortless transition. The High Performance series used to get that heel join, but they reserved that for the custom shop in today's offerings. And wood hue will vary on each of these. You can see the neck on this example is a little bit lighter in color, but everything is good there. And here you can see our full-on locking Grover tuners. This one was made the 230th day of 2023, initial batch, production number 144. But all said and done, it weighs 8 pounds, 10.1 ounces. Let's go ahead, plug one of these in, and hear how it sounds. So hopefully that gives you a brief idea of all the tones that you have in this. It can be kind of overwhelming to demo one of these, but the neck is nice and full. But it can also be split. Does seem to be a little bit more warmth to their coil splits. I wonder if they did mess with that to make it more P90 like, and it's not just them talking stuff. Similar stuff with the bridge. And middles. And both of those pickups also split. And here's a demonstration of that whole direct to bridge, how it can be helpful in clean tones. Again, if you want to have something mellow, then quickly switch into a lead tone, but you might have to go back to it. It just helps you keep your settings where you are if you need a wide open sound. So if you kick on some distortion, you could use it in a different way, because as you roll the volume down, you can have like 2 different settings with that. But with everything on 10, I feel you get just a little bit more out of it. So whatever way you want to use that. Now that we know all about the new figure top Les Paul Moderns, what are my final thoughts? This was a breath of fresh air into something that I felt was kind of stale. This feels like a whole entire brand new different model. Like, yeah, we've seen some of these colors before. If I had to choose my favorite new color though, it would definitely be the Cobalt. But yet they still look fresh on this particular model, so I'm very happy I decided to review and document these after all, because it kind of feels like it's worth it now, because especially since we just talked about the new Modern Supremes, one of the big selling points on those is the fact that they had a figure top, whereas the regular Modern didn't. But now that the regular Modern does, it kind of makes those seem a lot more expensive than they have to be, as those are $4,000 brand new. They've got similar stuff. The pickups, if I remember correctly, they're a little bit different, and yeah, they've got the different headstock, but now it seems like the Les Paul Modern's like fighting back, saying, yeah, you guys should definitely buy us. I'm not going to say you're going to use all the different tones all the time, but it's nice to have them on board, and I could see how that whole direct-to-bridge thing could be useful. They do have a rather modern sound to them, and I think that's exactly what they're going for. But alright, Troglodytes, if you're interested in being the next owner of my 3 demo units, you can find them for sale on my website, troglysguitarshow.com. Otherwise, we will catch you guys tomorrow on the next episode. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.